The tragic story of the Titan submersible began on June 18, 2023, when it embarked on a highly anticipated journey to explore the wreckage of the Titanic, which lies 3,800 meters below the surface of the North Atlantic Ocean. The submersible, owned by OceanGate and led by CEO Stockton Rush, was carrying 5 people, including tourists and crew members, on an expedition that many saw as an exciting opportunity to witness one of history's most famous shipwrecks. Among the passengers were well-known British adventurer Hamish Harding, Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood and his son Sulman Dawood, and Paul Henry Nargialat, a renowned Titanic expert. Alongside them was Rush himself, who had been heavily involved in the design and development of the Titan submersible. After the Titan was lowered into the ocean at around 9:00 a.m., excitement was high. The passengers were preparing to witness the Titanic wreck with their own eyes. A monumental experience for anyone fascinated by the history of the unsinkable ship. However, just an hour and a half into the dive, disaster struck. Communication between the Titan and its mothership, the Polar Prince, was suddenly lost. Panic ensued as the crew on the Polar Prince made repeated attempts to contact the submersible, but no response was received. For 2 days, the world watched anxiously as search operations were launched. There was no word on whether the passengers inside the Titan were alive. The uncertainty and desperation surrounding the situation captivated global attention. As search teams scoured the depths, the hope of a rescue grew slimmer by the hour. Finally, after extensive efforts, wreckage from the Titan was discovered on the ocean floor, just 1,600 feet away from the Titanic. The scattered remains of the submersible indicated a catastrophic implosion, and it was confirmed that no one aboard had survived. In the aftermath of the tragedy, investigations into what caused the implosion began. The U.S. Coast Guard and other authorities launched formal inquiries, and new information about the safety of the Titan submersible began to emerge. OceanGate's decision to use carbon fiber for the hull of the submersible was scrutinized. David Lockridge, a former director of operations at OceanGate, had raised concerns about the safety of Titan as early as 2018. Lockridge had warned that the carbon fiber hull, designed to withstand the immense pressure of the deep ocean, had not been properly tested, making the submersible unsafe for such extreme depths. Despite his warnings, Lockridge was dismissed from the company, and his concerns were not addressed. Further investigations revealed that the Titan had not been certified by any recognized agency for deep-sea exploration. The submersible was considered experimental, and although it had made previous successful dives, the lack of rigorous safety measures raised serious questions about why it was allowed to operate at such depths. The submersible was not tested to industry standards, which typically require vehicles to be tested at 1 to 5 times the depth they are designed to reach. Titan, however, was not tested to the necessary depth, and a 2019 inspection even revealed cracks in the carbon fiber hull, which were ignored. On the day of the disaster, the final message received from the Titan was at a depth of 346 meters, just 454 meters away from the Titanic wreck. The message indicated that the crew was dropping weights to control their descent, but shortly after, contact was lost. The immense pressure of the ocean at that depth, more than 6,000 pounds per square inch, likely caused the submersible to implode. The world mourned the loss of the 5 passengers aboard the Titan. The incident raised awareness about the risks of deep-sea exploration and the importance of adhering to safety standards. Investigations into the cause of the implosion are ongoing, and the details that continue to emerge highlight the dangers of pushing technological boundaries without sufficient precautions. This tragic event serves as a sobering reminder of the power of the ocean and the risks involved in exploring its depths. The legacy of the Titanic, and now the Titan submersible, remains a poignant symbol of human ambition and the perilous consequences that can arise when safety is compromised. The story surrounding the Titan submersible tragedy continues to unravel, with more details shedding light on the series of events leading to the catastrophic failure and loss of 5 lives. Among those lost was Paul Henry Nargeolet, a renowned Titanic expert who had visited the shipwreck numerous times. The incident has drawn considerable attention, especially to the submersible's design, the oversight of safety concerns, and the lack of rigorous testing before it was launched for deep-sea tourism. One of the core issues raised after the accident was the structural integrity of the Titan submersible, particularly its carbon fiber hull. OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush, who also perished in the disaster, had personally overseen the development of the Titan. The use of carbon fiber, a material not commonly used for deep-sea submersibles, sparked concerns. David Lockridge, the director of operations at OceanGate in 2018, was one of the first to raise alarms about the submersible's safety. Lockridge expressed concerns that the Titan's carbon fiber hull had not been adequately tested for the extreme pressures it would face at depths of 4,000 meters or more. According to Lockridge, the Titan's design lacked certification and had not been subjected to standard safety protocols typically required for deep-sea vehicles. When Lockridge attempted to push for more stringent testing, including an inspection of the hull's safety, he was met with resistance from Stockton Rush. Lockridge was eventually fired from his position after raising these issues, and the ensuing lawsuit between him and OceanGate revealed key details about the submersible's experimental nature. Despite passing a pressure test at 4,200 meters, the Titan had not been tested at depths 1.25 times its intended operational depth, which is standard industry practice. If the Titanic wreck lies at a depth of 3,800 meters, the submersible should have been tested at least to 4,750 meters to ensure its safety margin. This lack of thorough testing raised serious questions after the accident. The investigation into the Titan's implosion also highlighted previous warnings. In 2019, a pilot identified a crack in the carbon fiber hull, but this issue was reportedly ignored by OceanGate. The decision to continue using the Titan despite these concerns contributed to the submersible's eventual failure. On June 18, 2023, when the Titan set out to explore the Titanic, contact with the submersible was lost shortly after it descended. The U.S. Navy later confirmed that it had detected an unusual sound, a likely implosion, shortly after the Titan disappeared. This raised initial speculations about whether the Titan had been attacked by a marine creature, or whether an unknown underwater event had occurred. However, investigations eventually pointed to the implosion of the submersible due to the immense pressure at such depths. The discovery of Titan's wreckage on the ocean floor, about 1,600 feet from the Titanic, confirmed the worst fears. The catastrophic implosion likely occurred almost instantly, giving no time for the passengers to react. The debris found included fragments of the carbon fiber hull, further supporting the theory that the front portion of the submersible had been compromised by the pressure, leading to a total structural failure. Public outcry grew after the release of these details, especially as more information came to light about OceanGate's decision-making process. Families of the victims, including those of Paul Henry Nargeolet, have demanded accountability, arguing that OceanGate failed to heed the warnings about the Titan's safety. This has led to calls for stricter regulations in the field of deep-sea exploration and tourism. In response to the tragedy, the U.S. Coast Guard, alongside the Canadian Transportation Safety Board, launched a formal investigation into the cause of the implosion and OceanGate's operational practices. The investigation also revealed that the submersible had been sold shortly after its completion in 2018, and yet, it had not undergone the extensive safety tests that would typically be required for a vessel of this kind. The incident has also brought attention to the risks associated with deep-sea exploration and the need for transparency and certification when it comes to such high-stakes endeavors. Paul Henry Nargeolet, who had visited the Titanic wreck 37 times and was considered one of the world's foremost experts on the shipwreck, tragically lost his life in what should have been a routine exploration. The loss of these 5 individuals, combined with the revelations about OceanGate's operational practices, has sparked debates about the future of deep-sea tourism and the balance between adventure and safety. As the investigations continue, the lessons from the Titan disaster will likely shape future regulations for private companies engaged in deep-sea exploration. The Titan's implosion serves as a stark reminder of the dangers lurking in the depths of the ocean, and the responsibility of companies to prioritize safety above all else. The tragic saga of the Titan submersible, its descent towards the Titanic wreck, and the events leading to the loss of communication with its mothership, the Polar Prince, are now being better understood as more information has surfaced about their last exchanges. The conversation between the Polar Prince and Titan, made public on June 16, 2023, paints a picture of a routine dive that slowly turned into a chilling mystery. After leaving the Canadian port on June 16, 2023, the Polar Prince sailed for 2 days to reach the location above the Titanic wreck, which lies 3,800 meters below the surface of the North Atlantic Ocean. On June 18, at 9:19 a.m., the Titan submersible was deployed from the Polar Prince, beginning its descent towards the Titanic wreck. In the initial part of the dive, everything seemed to be going according to plan. The Polar Prince communicated with Titan to monitor its depth and descent speed. At 9:32 a.m., the Polar Prince asked Titan to confirm its depth at 680 meters, to which the Titan's pilot responded with confirmation. Similar exchanges continued, and at 9:36 a.m., Titan reported its depth at 1,676 meters. This pattern of communication continued smoothly, with both vessels exchanging regular status updates. However, things took a strange turn when, at 9:50 a.m., the Polar Prince asked Titan if they could see the Polar Prince on their display. This time, there was no response from the submersible. Silence followed for the next 20 minutes, until at 10:01 a.m., brief message came from Titan, indicating some chat settings were adjusted, and Paul Henry Nargialet, a passenger on the submersible, responded by assuring the crew that all was good. At 10:15 a.m., the Titan reported a depth of 2,744 meters, and by this point, it was located southeast of the Titanic's bow section. The Polar Prince acknowledged this update. A little later, the Polar Prince requested information about a Niskin bottle, an oceanographic tool for collecting water samples, to which Titan responded that they were not deploying a Niskin bottle. By 10:47 a.m., the Titan had descended to 3,346 meters, a mere 454 meters away from the Titanic wreck. It was then that the submersible sent its last message, saying, "Drop to weights." This message was a reference to dropping the submersible's ballast weights to control its descent speed as it approached the ocean floor. However, soon after this message, contact between Titan and the Polar Prince was severed. Despite multiple attempts by the Polar Prince to re-establish communication, no further responses were received from Titan. This marked the beginning of the frantic search and rescue operations, which ultimately ended in the discovery of the Titan's wreckage days later. This final transmission and the subsequent loss of contact offer a haunting glimpse into the last moments of the submersible before its catastrophic implosion. The exact cause remains under investigation, but this timeline shows that the crew had successfully navigated most of their descent before disaster struck. In closing, the chilling story of the Titan submersible is a reminder of the risks and uncertainties involved in deep-sea exploration. For those fascinated by the mysteries of the ocean and historical wrecks like the Titanic, the tragic end of this expedition casts a somber light on the importance of safety and preparedness in such extreme environments. Thank you for following along with Unfolded Secrets, and be sure to stay tuned for more captivating explorations in future videos.